And we're back. Welcome. So what we're talking about now, we're just talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 655, which is, again, I don't have these with me because I don't collect these comics. A friend of mine gets them, and he's more into like a lot of the like original longtime Marvel fan. He collects all the main Marvel stuff. Um, and he recommended this to me because he said, and I've been following Dan Slott on Twitter, and some of the things that he's had to say about Amazing Spider-Man. Some of the people that have said things about Amazing Spider-Man recently had me pretty intrigued. So to see exactly where it was going. So I mean, 655 deals with the fallout of Marla Jameson's death. And it's a kind of a companion piece to Fantastic Four 588. It's a largely silent issue dealing with the death of Johnny Storm in that one. So it seemed like, at least for a little while, Peter Parker didn't really have to deal with death. And and that was a pretty significant thing for him. It felt like he'd kind of reached a turning point in his life, but now he is mired back in the muck again, and he now has to deal with the death of somebody else that he really cared about. And in this, the art, and I can't remember the name of the artist who did this issue. It's not Humberto Ramos, but it is somebody who is extraordinarily talented. Harkening back to a lot of past issues in Peter's life, obviously with Gwen, with Captain Stacy, with Uncle Ben, of course. All of these people that have died around him. And he has this nightmare about them, and it's extremely powerful work. It's almost gut wrenching to read. It's just everything that Dan Slott puts the Dream Peter through kind of forces him to reevaluate his position. I think morally on what may need to be done in order to stop some of the things in order to stop some of the people that have caused so much destruction and death in Peter Parker's life. Because the book, in and of itself, obviously it's called Spider-Man, but it's really Peter Parker that we need to, that we look at, and that we care about. Because it's his life. That's one of the unique things about Spider-Man, something that I think that many writers have kind of let fall to the wayside. They've presented us with a lot of Spider-Man. It's a lot of him in the suit, dealing with this or that. The one thing also that I thought was extraordinarily cool about this issue was the dealing with him killing a woman called Charlemagne, or just called Charlie. And this harkens back to, again, I think the mid 80s, and one of my favorite one-shots of all time, which is Spider-Man versus Wolverine. Which is basically, if you don't know the story of it, Spider-Man goes, both Spider-Man and Wolverine happen to be in the same place at the same time. It's about a Cold War assassin who is actually a lover of Wolverine's, and they're just and she refuses to be taken alive by by whatever government has come to claim her, and she tricks Spider-Man basically into killing her. And that's been, it's something that I feel in some, in the issues since then, it's not something that's really been dealt with. But this issue actually dealt with that death. If you ever get the chance to read that one shot, I don't know if I don't know if it's ever been reprinted in one of the essentials. I hope it has, because if it has, and please let me know, because I need to go get it, because I used to have the issue for years, and it got lost in a move that I made, and I feel really shitty about that because I loved reading that issue. Again, just Peter reevaluating what may need to be done from here on out. He doesn't want any more deaths on his conscience. And what will that mean? That he will cross a line? Time will tell, because it ends on that kind of amorphous note, or ambiguous, I guess is a better word. Also, the side stories about Venom and Flash Thompson becoming the new Venom, and that basically he's going to be he's going to be essentially doing Black Ops. Some wet work as Venom. That's a really compelling story. Now I know he's going to have his own series soon, and whether or not of course he's going to deal with Flash and the symbiote of Venom being together, and whether or not that side will just emerge, because it already has, at least partially. In one of the missions that Flash has gone on, this is the side story, the peripheral story to what's going on, the main threat of Spider-Man. So I'm really interested to see how that turns out. So I'm looking forward to it, and just the cool redesign of the character anyway. So on to the kind of last thing that I want to talk about tonight, which is Morning Glories. Now I read, I was not able to get my hands on issue 1, but I was able to get my hands, while I was in the comic store, on issues 2 and 3, and I read through them, and if there are people out there who have seen the live-action show Tower Prep that was on Cartoon Network. Now, this was a show that was created by Paul Dini, who is one of the foremost minds in animation, has been since Batman the Animated Series, has worked pretty consistently since then. And, of course, he's a great writer on Detective Comics. He's not doing that work right now. He's doing Streets of Gotham. But he really reinvigorated that not too long ago. He gave us the coolest take on Hush that I've ever seen, and then he created this live-action show for Cartoon Network, which is basically about a school for people with special powers. It's not the Xavier Institute. They're not mutants. They've just got slightly above average human powers, and these 4 kind of mismatched teens, they're kind of fighting their way out of this school that seems to have no, that kind of seems to have no end to it. It's a creepy show. It's a really good show. It's also done by, also involved are a lot of veterans of the X-Files. So it's a smart, well acted, and really good show. And that's what Morning Glories kind of reminds me of, is that it seems to be these students trapped in this place. It's much more adult oriented than Tower Prep is, obviously, but and it doesn't have the same dark edge as as Morning Glories does. So I mean, they're similar but different. I enjoyed them. I look forward to reading more. So thanks, Ian, for turning me on to that. I'll definitely be checking it out, because I don't check out too many indies. It's Image, so it doesn't seem to be too indie. Because obviously Image, puts out The Walking Dead, and that's, not really an indie comic. So anyway, this is really it for tonight. So thanks for checking it out. Go to theshadowgallery.info, So it's not going to be around much longer, and take care.